Hey, listeners, this episode is brought to you by EF World Journeys. Today's travelers want more from their vacation. That's why more people are turning to travel professionals to help them explore the world with confidence. For nearly 35 years, EF World Journeys has been the go to guided experiential travel company for leisure travelers who want to learn more about people, places, and cultures around the world. Its brands EF Ultimate Break, EF Go Ahead Tours, and EF Adventures serve everyone from Gen Z to baby boomers and help tens of thousands of US and Canadian travelers every year explore 400 bucket list destinations. EF World Journeys is one of North America's biggest guided group tour companies, and its expert planned immersive itineraries focus on the big moments and little things that make travel and meeting new people so rewarding. It's experiential travel that goes deeper, where every journey builds a connection, inspires wellness, and fuels a lifelong love of learning. EF World Journeys, guided by experts, driven by curiosity. To learn more, go to efworldjourneys.com.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Skift Travel Podcast. I am your non-regular host for the summer, Rafat Ali, CEO and founder of Skift. And I'm delighted, this is a rare chance, of getting a guest this is his first ever podcast interview. And in general, he doesn't speak much on the record, on stage, at conferences either. And he's doing me a huge favor. We are excited to have Shaya Zelering, who is the global head of hospitality investments for Brookfield Real Estate. Brookfield is the giant real estate firm that operates in many parts of the real estate world, but in his purview is hospitality. And Shaya, you've been at Brookfield since 2014 now, so what, 10 plus years at this point?
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Rafat. And it is my first podcast, so you're bound to have a lot of provocative comments here, which will make it
which we're
interesting.
here for. Yes, we're here for. You sound good. Your team did a good job with the sound stage.
Look, we've stayed active even through COVID. So every year, we do total volume of transactions of around 3 billion buying and selling.
Right.
This year is shaping up to be a good year for us, although in very different geographies than what I originally would have said at the
Intended.
beginning of the year. So this year, the
Oh,
big win was buying generator hostels in Europe,
right.
for about $1 billion US. Um, we also we also sold about $1 billion worth of assets,
Right. You
US
just
in
sold something
yeah,
you when you
we sold.
messaged me, some big deal.
Yeah, we sold the Mare Nostrum in Spain, which was the single largest deal in Spain, in Tenerife, and our team did an incredible job there, right? And great returns for our investors and incredible conviction, but by people continue to invest in Spain, which is a market we love. And we got into this market during COVID. As a matter of fact, my first trip during COVID was to Spain with my colleagues and to nail down this acquisition of Salenta, which was our team in Madrid kind of focused on, and then we came in and went through this transaction. So it was an interesting study because during COVID we're very early back in the office. Right? I'm sure you're going to ask questions about culture. We're
Yeah.
back in the office by June of 2020.
June 2020. Wow.
That's
Doing the
culture.
social distancing and mask and everything else.
That's culture, and it allowed us to invest incredibly well during COVID while some of our colleagues were partying in the Hamptons, and really positioned us well. So we're very proud about that execution. Team did a fantastic job. Our management team did a fantastic job. So we're quite pleased with that, and we continue to invest in Spain. We have a
Yeah.
lot of product there.
As you s- as the earnings season just finished for most of the major hotel groups and all other parts of travel as well. The if somebody were to ask me what is the general sentiment now sitting in mid 2025 with all the stuff happening around you in the world, where's travel going, there's no one answer at this point. It looks like some are doing great. Some airlines previous quarter warned, turns out this quarter they're fine. Some hotel groups previous quarter they said they're fine, this quarter they're slowing down. So there's just no consistency of where the world is today. What is your sense and how do you operate in sort of a very inconsistent world?
Look, when you talk about earnings, right, you're really talking about public markets
Yeah.
that are very fickle, right? They tend to overreact on a day-to-day basis. And it's very different than what private markets do, right? So for me, this quarter, next quarter are not as meaningful as 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line. So I think it's a big distinguishing between where we play and some of the public REITs do. Having said that, it's a very important indication of market sentiment, right? And the
Or at least traveler sentiment.
traveler sentiment, yeah, traveler sentiment. I think that I focus on more neutral data providers. I'll give you an example. The use of credit cards
Hmm.
is a very good indicator of where people are
Right.
spending their money and their priorities.
Right.
The I think that the quarterly earnings commentary from some of the groups that you're referring to, um, I take at a discount.
Well,
Having said that, I do pay attention, very close attention to airlines because they are, in my view, a forward leading indicator.
right.
And
Right.
especially when you listen to some of them, very interesting dynamics and important ones to pay attention to. So I think that there it's a mature industry, it's a consolidated industry. So I put a lot of value in what I hear from the airlines. To your question, I think that there is a little bit of uncertainty in the market. There's a little bit of confusion in the market, a lot of volatility in the market that really is opportunistic in my view. Right? So what do I make out of it? I think that there is consumers continue to prioritize travel. We'll talk about that, I'm
Right.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
The market is a little bit more fickle, and we're still missing the big three drivers for our industry. International travel is depressed, corporate and government travel is depressed,
Yeah.
and group are hesitant about booking a year out. They're confident about 3 years out or
Huh.
30 days out.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of indicative of what we're seeing to also in terms of the bond market, right? There's the level of uncertainty varies, but people overall are optimistic in the long term. Things are going to be great.
And in the long term, things are going to be great in US or globally because one of the things that's happened under you is that the portfolio has diversified, as you said, quite a bit. It's Leela, it's Generator, it's the Spain market that you said, a bunch of others I'm sure you're looking at that you'll tell me. How are you thinking about sort of US versus rest of the world?
So that's a great question. One of the benefits that we have is we're really a global firm. And by that, we're vertically integrated. We have the different logistics, multifamily, hospitality, and we're geographically deployed. So we have 30 offices around the world. And that is really powerful because we can really play the different games at the different regions. So let's talk about India. India is the third of the size of the US and 5 times the population.
Hmm.
Impossible to compete with the growth dynamics in India,
Right.
right? So that's a growth market, incredible tailwinds, and increasing middle class, right? Now, there are certain must haves when you get to middle class. You have your education, family, home, car, maybe. The next thing is travel.
Yeah.
That's when you know where you made it. So think about that in the context of a growing market. Now, we've been in India now for over 15 years, boots on the ground, a big
Mm.
office in India with my colleagues there, very active. This is not done through a JV. We have JVs, but we are there present.
Which is different advice than which is different than the general advice you get, which is Indian real estate market is tough. You need to have local connections, political connections, all this other stuff. So how have you navigated that?
Well, it's a great question. So we, it's all homegrown talent who that went back home.
Ah, okay.
These are Indian fellows that got their education here, that worked in New York. Ankur Gupta is my good friend. We used to sit side by side, right?
Wow,
And
wow.
he moved back there. And but remember, we were in India for 10 years before we did our first deal in general. So that's what I mean by a long-term view. 10 years, a full office before you make your first deal. And once we did it, we never stopped. So I think that is a key. And look, I think culturally, we are open to JVs and partnerships, but it's different when you can say we're here. We are part of the
The
system,
countries
the country.
rise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And so with Leela, Leela just did this IPO, I think 2 months ago,
Yeah.
maybe less than that at this point. And you're still a major shareholder, continue to be a major shareholder. What is your, and you're on the board. I think are you the chair, are you the
No,
chair
no,
of the
no.
board?
We have a board. We have a fantastic board. I am one of
Cool.
the few that brings the hotel operations expertise to the board, but it's an incredible group of people with very diverse.
What's the sense that the Leela brand will translate in other parts of the world? I know that's one of the thought processes. They already, I guess, some international. Are there? I'm trying to remember.
With one project we're looking at in I mean, it didn't work out really well for some other Indian brands in major
Yeah, Taj,
markets.
Taj, and others have
Right,
tried. Oberoi has,
right.
well, Oberoi has done good in the Indian Ocean area. Um, Taj is here in New York, where we are, at the Pierre, right? That's
Right.
still
And
Taj.
and and there was one in San Francisco. So why do you think that didn't work out?
Uh, I think it's a different era now. Now India is a different era as well. And so I think my, not in the same scale, but not in the same class, but Oyo just bought Motel 6, which is unheard, which would not have occurred to Indian companies to do 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. And we'll see how that plays out. Will be interesting. Again, different scale of the market than where you are in, but it'll be interesting to see.
I think that Leela would work really well in certain markets. In like you said, in either you have a very strong Indian diaspora or a very exotic kind of locations.
Yeah.
I don't know if it translates
In the
everywhere.
Western world. Yeah. I mean, everybody who stays, you know this because like everybody who stays once at Leela gets it. Like, oh, this is a different brand of hospitality. And then they would want to see this in other parts of the world where they travel. Again, it has to fit in with the, as you said, the milieu of where it is.
Yeah, but what an incredible brand. I mean, if you think about Captain Nair's vision and his principles, he one of saying was the guest is God. Imagine if you had Western brands that adopted that
Yeah. Yeah, that
philosophy.
would have, yeah.
That would make traveling much more fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking. Well, so, and then have you, and you're still optimistic in Europe from at least an investing perspective, even though many of the economies are not as robust, Germany, Spain, Italy, etc. But from a traveler perspective, they're still booming.
Yeah. So look, I think India is a growth story. Europe, I'm not sure about growth, but specifically for hospitality, it still has an incredible attraction.
Yeah.
Right? I went to Italy, I went to Spain, I went to Greece. It has that romanticism about travel that is quite special, and it will continue to be an engine in Europe without a question. We invest in Europe in very niche product. So where do we focus? We focus on affordable travel, hostels. We focus on a extended lifestyle, extended stay.
That's the holiday part, the
That's
Center
the
Parcs.
no, that's the lock product. So Imagine that you can work from anywhere, and we give you a room that has a kitchenette, laundry, dryer, amenities. You can live in Lisbon for a month in a lifestyle hotel. So that's the lock product that we've developed from 1 unit to 18. So you can really see how you can hop around, be it because of the festivals or seasonality, and live in different parts with a fully equipped apartment, which is great for people. So you got the generator is as if as a
And you're
student,
just starting there, right? You're just starting there. Yeah.
and then as a young professional that maybe is a podcaster or a programmer, you can hop around the lock product. If you're a family, definitely go to Center Parcs, right? Which is
Yeah.
an incredible experience. And again, it's part of the British culture.
Yeah. This holiday parks is not a concept that exists in US, correct?
No, unless you consider Disney a holiday park.
Holiday park,
It's
I
not a
guess. Yeah. They,
I'm not, it might be a holiday, it might not, but it's not definitely not a vacation, is it?
yeah, it's very interesting how that culture in Europe is that. I think Australia too is a product. I'm forgetting a few companies there, but it's a very interesting concept.
Well, it's an unbelievable business, Rafa. It's you check in twice a week. It's either a Friday or a Monday. So your length of stay is already baked. And you
Oh,
go there, you there's no cars in the park, and there's 120 activities for you and the kids. You name it, they have it. And every
oh,
year they introduce new activities. So if you're looking for a quick getaway, a week, half a week, a long weekend, what can be better? You get in the car, especially with little kids. You have 3 children. Get them in the car.
yeah.
You don't have to go through TSA. You don't have to put them in a plane.
Yeah, the geography matters there because it's sort of navigable by
You're on an
car.
island.
Everything is,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So the
So it's
geography
it's
matters.
an
Yeah.
incredible business, and it's really, when I say it's part of the culture, it runs 96% occupancy
Wow. Yeah.
e-
On the weekends.
every day, because you're selling only two types, three types: weekend, weekday, or a full week.
Okay.
So it's a revenue manager's dream come true. So that's a business that when we bought, um, was already doing well, but we managed to double the EBITDA there, almost double the EBITDA, and we did it through expanding to Ireland. We're now looking at a place in Scotland, adding more unique lodges, tree houses, and lake houses, and what have you. Um, but the main thing there is looking at opportunities to allocate capital into niche product. Very
Hmm.
difficult to replicate.
I mean, how many of these types of niche products exist at the scale that you're looking at? Because you're looking at not like, well, I guess you said you build a lock property from 1 to 18, so you're I guess on all ends of the market, a small end of the market to build it into bigger thing, and then obviously the big stuff that you do. Um, how are you evaluating sort of which end of the market you want to look at?
So what we want to do, and I'm sure this will come in our conversation because I think you alluded to it in one of your posts about the next IPO and so forth, is we want to stay out of the commoditized product. It can be hostels, it can be Leela palaces, it can be A located, A type hotels that cannot be rebuilt, the Ritz Carlton and Baccara.
Uh-huh.
So we're open to JV partnerships. We're open to growing platforms. We're partners with the guys from Experimental, right? They figured out the unique formula of bars and beds. So we helped them grow. We have 5 or 6 hotels with them. Uh, so we're open to anything other than the commoditized business, which is further getting commoditized because of the dynamics with the brands, right?
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
that is the standard. It doesn't have to be only high end. It doesn't have to be low end. It needs to be differentiated by
Different
some
way,
way.
yeah, because you're buying all across.
Yeah.
Let's talk about generator hostels because you're just starting with that
Yeah.
process of rethinking generator hostels. Um, sorry. you're rethinking what hostels would look like in 2025 and beyond, the next 5 years, for instance, in 2030. What are you trying to solve for with Generator?
Affordability.
Hmm.
It's gotten so expensive to travel.
Well, I just wrote this post yesterday that went crazy viral on LinkedIn
How
two
did you?
days ago on the affordability crisis in travel.
That's what I'm trying to solve for. It's it needs to be affordable to travel to Madrid, Barcelona, Rome, wherever you go. And it's not a privilege of the few. So if I'm a family of six, I shouldn't be deprived from a trip to Madrid, let's say.
Right.
So if I'm a family of six and I need to buy 2 or 3 bedrooms, right, depending on the age of the kids,
The kids,
or
right?
if I'm a student out of the U.S. that is looking to catch a break, right, and is not working for a one of the Mag 7, how many
Hmm.
mags are?
Yeah,
You
7.
shouldn't
Yeah.
be you shouldn't be deprived of those experiences, and that's what we're trying to focus there. So it's affordable, it's clean, like-minded people, excellent locations, so I can go for this festival or this concert and all that, and not break the bank because X, Y, and Z are performing and rates are not achievable. That's what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
and we're trying to do it in a way that it's the premium hostel in the space. So the activation, the DJs, the gastronomy, it's not Michelin, but it's something that
The young people will like programming is an important part of it. You talked about festivals a few times in our conversation, which is interesting because I think a lot of, and we've been talking about this quite a bit, about what we call live tourism, which is music, entertainment, sports, etc., are now generating these mass gatherings of people, which have always been there, but they're become a new way to sort of develop soft power in the world for countries and regions, but also new way to spur tourism and repeat tourism. Once you go to one place for some concert, you like it, and you sort of come back in a different avatar of your life. And so, as you're thinking about sort of where the world is going and what it needs from getting together perspective, as the world becomes more polarized or atomized, etc., how do these things play out in your real estate investment philosophy? Do you care about sort of the demographics of the world and how they're playing out, like, and how much are you attuned to it?
so the thing about hospitality, and I'm stating the obvious here, so your listeners will probably tune out at this point, but but I'll say it anyways. When you invest in hotels, you're combining real estate, fundamentals, and operations. So you need to get the real estate right: location, growth, diverse demand, supply dynamics. Um, is the local municipality supportive of business? You have to get that right, and you get to have the operations right. Operations is kind of knowing where the wind is blowing, right? Making sure that there's a good value proposition, making sure that the execution is good. So
Mm.
it's not a transactional experience. You have to get both of them right. To do that, it's very, very difficult. And our approach is with a lot of humility, right? In our approach and humility, I mean, we have to be very curious, but understand that the past, the history has very little to do with forward indications, specifically as a contrarian investor.
Uh-huh.
So everything matters. The shift in preferences matters. Shift in growth, demographics, consumer spend, consumer priorities, all of that, all of that matters. But we should not get hung up on the hype, right? I am not gonna go buy a hotel because I know that there's the Olympics or there's concerts or
Uh-huh.
whatever it is. It's part of the study. Are there destinations that are increasing in popularity because they're welcoming? They're very active in terms of pulling events, conferences. Do people want to come visit? And we've seen what happens to hotels when you don't have it. San Francisco is a good example,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I mean, I think that every municipality should learn the San Francisco story and say, wait a second, am I going on the growth mode or am I going to deprive the local economy, restaurateurs, workers, transportation, whatever, because of some ideology one way or another?
Yeah. I mean, you own something you own the Ritz Carlton there. I haven't been to San Francisco in a while, but like all I remember is they're terrible hotels. Pretty much the whole like it's one of the strangest things, like a iconic city in America that doesn't have great hotels.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean that's the regulation issues. All I mean, you know better than I do because this is your world. But my general sense is regulation, probably, but California and San Francisco itself. I guess that's the main thing. And obviously, the city's challenges in terms of homelessness and others. That's a more recent phenomena, like 10, 15, 20 years. But yeah, that's my sense.
I think being pro business is not a bad thing. Now, you can set certain parameters, you can cultivate if you want more focus on ESG, if you want to have more focus on experiential, if you want to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more. But but I think if you're not going to be pro business, you're going to end up with that situation. And then
Yeah,
there's no income to support many of the services that a municipality needs to provide. So the 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 predicament about hotels is that they are huge tax generators for the municipality,
correct.
but they don't vote.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
yeah. No, I think that's true. I mean, it's the cliche is it has to be balanced, and this. I mean, I guess a lot of let's talk about because this drives into the next topic, which is the state of hospitality, particularly in US. And by hospitality, I don't mean real estate assets. I mean actual hospitality versus Europe and Asia and Middle East, all the stuff that you and I travel to and are wowed by, everything from the breakfast at the hotels to the hospitality, the Leela hospitality we just talked about. I wrote this article yesterday that America has lost the first line is America has lost the plot. And it means in many you can take that sentence and stretch it in any different way, but just specifically talking about the art of hospitality, the labor issues. I know you think deeply about labor issues in the hotel hospitality world as well. So what's your sense of what has gone wrong, what's still there, and what can be done by the industry and players like you, for instance?
It's the difference between value extraction and value building. Think about that for a second. If you think about the most incredible hotels, they didn't focus quarter to quarter. They didn't talk about adding units. They didn't talk about members. They talked about how incrementally you become the choice of the consumer, not because of points, not because of experiences. So in the US, I think that we have incredible entrepreneurship, have incredible innovation, we have incredible dynamics
Right.
in general.
Yeah,
In
all
general,
across. Yeah.
the issue for me in the hospitality business is that there's a very drastic imbalance, and a lot of my colleagues talk about where there's a misalignment between the brand and the real estate. And when that
Mhm.
happens, what is the incentive to continue to invest in hotels?
So explain what do you mean the misalignment, like for those who are not in the, may not understand that. What does that mean?
The market has trained the brands to talk about unit growth and loyalty programs. So
Hmm.
that's what they're focused on.
Right.
For the real estate, the ones that put the most amount of risk
Right.
on the line, there needs to be an alignment. There needs to be a rationale for owners to continue to buy, invest, improve the assets. So when you're getting paid uh, only on the top line and you have zero motivation, and especially it's kind of a Starbucks model, just talk
Uh-huh.
more boxes and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
so you've commoditized the space. There's no differentiation. The difference for me between choosing box A, B, or C is on price, because there's a Starbucks in every corner, right?
Right.
So there's a misalignment, and that is a little bit sad to see, and I think it has gone quite to the extreme.
In terms of the actual act of hospitality itself, there's general sense that America, not just US, but in the Western world, in at least in hotels, for instance, there's a labor crunch and in general there aren't that many people, and there's the sort of extreme end of the society that has become true transactionality, as we just talked about, at least in parts of it. And so I'll give an example: an Amman in New York versus an Amman in the storied parts of the world, right? Not the same service. And how much do you think that is industry's fault versus just the environment it exists in at this point?
It's a great question. I think it feeds into two things. Look at the growth of luxury product, the performance of luxury, number one, and look at the inbound, outbound travel, right?
Hmm.
So people are looking for what you're describing.
Yeah,
They're going either very high end or they're going abroad to find it.
to find it. Correct.
Where the service industries are are appreciated or are a means for people to advance,
And also, it's cultural in many
and
countries.
culture and
Yeah,
culture, being welcoming, and we used Captain, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's a privilege to have that, and it exists in the Middle East, exists in India,
yeah.
exists in many
Southeast Asia,
in
right? Yeah,
in in Latin America,
Latin America,
right?
correct. Yeah,
So there is a lot of that. It also exists in parts of Europe where they take service as a profession.
okay.
A lot of a lot of the best training today for hospitality doesn't happen in the US, I would verge to say.
Yeah,
It happens if you want to extract value, yeah, we'll teach you productivity measures and, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to create value, build value, you have to think about that a little bit differently, I think. What do you think?
yeah. Um, I think hospitality is not immune from the general state of the country or culture that it exists in. And I have my personal views. I'm a adopted American as much as you are an adopted American. We come from cultures that are more Eastern, or at least more collectivist, if you will. And I think as much as we came here for all the reasons everybody else comes to make an economic success, it's the societal success that we sort of all lost. And now we're paying the price for it. And that reflects in travel. And like, it's not a vacuum. It affects the travel industry.
Yeah, I think that extracting value versus building value is a big
Building value. I think that's a great
is a
framing
big
that you did there.
is a big thing. I
Yeah.
will tell you though that um, there's many pockets where people define there's still a lot to be done, and a lot of it is we need to be open to different cultures a little bit better. I'll give you an example. We own Atlantis in the Bahamas,
Yes.
all right? People complain about the service in the Caribbean. Okay.
Mm.
Now you go to Atlantis, and if you're a repeat customer, or you don't have to be a repeat customer, you walk down the hall, you run into a housekeeper. If you don't smile at them, they won't smile back. But if you smile at them, they'll give you the biggest smile that you've ever seen.
Cool.
Beyond that, if you look at their name tag and you tell them, hey, you're from Exuma, they will start telling you stories about Exuma until you're late for dinner. So part of it is how we approach the industry participants is equally
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
You have to be in tune with that. You have to develop a little bit more sensibility to where you are what you're doing, how you're approaching it. Used to be that before you took a trip to Japan or China, you would read a book about the culture,
Yeah.
right? I don't know if that's done, but I definitely recommend it. So I think that there's a lot to be had. And the other thing I'll tell you that the one great thing that both for our industry, for a long time everything was driven by IQ. I think one of the shifts we're going to see with AI is that EQ is at the
Becomes
forefront,
more important. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So how
This
do
is I was not I was expecting AI to come up, but it didn't come up until how much 42 minutes into our conversation.
let's cancel this. Let's erase but here's
But
the thing. The
yeah,
If it allows us to focus on service and interaction in front of the front desk instead of all the work that is done behind,
and all these screens that you have to be behind. Yeah.
then I think that the best years of hospitality are ahead of us.
What I mean, because you own so much real estate, you look at not just property tech, but also hospitality tech. What do you wish the industry would create now as the next phase with AI? I guess you already hinted at it that you would want like the hospitality tech folks listen to this podcast, they read us. What would you, as somebody who invest in these, would want the hospitality tech industry to focus on?
I don't think the technology is the issue. I think that the adoption is the issue, right? And the
Oh,
adoption is we're an industry that is very slow. It's a very fragmented industry. It's slow to adopt technology. Hotel people are horrible in technology, hence the existence of Booking.com and Expedia and everybody else. And that's about to get disrupted now with the AI.
oh,
What I wish for, I had an experience back to San Francisco, but I had an experience in San Francisco in one day, and I would like to describe it to you.
yeah.
I got into a car that took me wirelessly, meaning there's no driver in the car
Oh, this is a Waymo.
and nobody in the car, and the car took me to this destination. Okay, that was fun. I go to the destination, they show me a machine that does massages. It's a robot.
Oh,
And what they show is that you can get an MRI and the machine will provide you a massage based on the MRI. So if you have
wow.
a knee fraction or whatever, it will avoid that area. Okay. So the drive, no driver, no masseuse. Okay. Then they show me this this store, the like a retail store that you don't have to scan the products. You take the products, you put them on this platform,
It
and
automatically.
automatically it brings you the bill, and you can charge it to your room. And the last one was at an airport, not in San Francisco, but basically I ordered a salad through a screen and a machine goes, picks it up and delivers it. That was in 1 week. So if I can get into a car that can drive me to the destination safely, why do I still have to go through the check-in process?
Mhm. Yeah,
Why? And half the time those apps to open the door don't even work, right?
they don't work. This is the thing.
But I can
Half
get
the
in a
time.
car.
I just had this exact experience by the way in Vegas. I'm not gonna name the hotel, but I just had the exact experience.
So I can get in the car, get from point A to B, but I still have to go through the check-in process
And
everywhere.
Vegas, like it just depends on the time, depends on when you land, and like, oh my God, the line could be awful.
So what I would like is for those who are really managing this tech stack and all that to just understand, and they will not do it, that the industry as a whole will be better if we were better in adapting technology because the information doesn't belong to the brands, it doesn't belong to the credit cards, it belongs to the people. And if
Oh,
I choose to go through the TSA, right, and I can go through this like this, should have the same experience in a hotel. And then what will happen? We can spend much more time improving and working on the experiences. To your point, the experience needs to be amplified. So less time clicking on computers, more time providing great experiences, and we'll be off to the races, I believe.
well, that's a very optimistic note to end on.
Excellent.
which
Yeah.
is that the experiences part and the technology should enhance the experiences, which is what all of us are trying to aim for. I think that's the continues to be. Well, thank you, Shaya, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you again, maybe next year, on the progress you've made on all the assets you've bought and hopefully sold as well. And looking forward to seeing you at the Global Forum, which is coming up in 5 weeks. I think by the time this podcast comes out, probably less than a month left, which will be fun. I think this is your first Global Forum you're going to come to, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm excited to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun. We're in the same town, so that'd be great. Okay, thank you, Shaya. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Skiff Travel Podcast. Wherever you're listening, please make sure to subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, rate us 5 stars or leave us a positive review. It really helps get the word out about us, our podcast, and make sure that we can still continue to bring it to you free of charge every week.
If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll know every time we have a new episode.
Hey listeners, this episode is brought to you by EF World Journeys. Today's travelers want more from their vacation. That's why more people are turning to travel professionals to help them explore the world with confidence. For nearly 35 years, EF World Journeys has been the go-to guided experiential travel company for leisure travelers who want to learn more about people, places, and cultures around the world. Its brands EF Ultimate Break, EF Go Ahead Tours, and EF Adventures serve everyone from Gen Z to baby boomers and help tens of thousands of US and Canadian travelers every year explore 400 bucket list destinations. EF World Journeys is one of North America's biggest guided group tour companies, and its expert planned immersive itineraries focus on the big moments and little things that make travel and meeting new people so rewarding. It's experiential travel that goes deeper, where every journey builds a connection, inspires wellness, and fuels a lifelong love of learning. EF World Journeys, guided by experts, driven by curiosity. To learn more, go to efworldjourneys.com.